Thoroughbreds Are Go was proud to sponsor Leah-Beth Anderton and her thoroughbred Only Tiger at the recent inaugural Racing New South Wales Equimillion, along with other studs, trainers, owners and plenty of other individuals who supported riders competing at the event. Unfortunately, Only Tiger went lame before we had our cameras there for the show jumping, but this is one young rider committed to the thoroughbred breed. Leah, it's so fantastic to meet you and find you have the gorgeous Only Tiger. It's so exciting for someone such as yourself, a young person, to have a really sweet, gentle thoroughbred.
Yeah, he's such a good boy. I'm so happy that I found him, and it's so lovely to meet you and find out more about Tiger's backstory and life before I had him in racing.
But Only Tiger is going to make it the quick double in a week.
So what are you mainly doing with him? Because he just looks to be a beautiful mover for whatever you'd like to turn him to.
So I do a lot of dressage with Tigsy because I just really think dressage is the basis of everything. And then I build on top of that with obviously the jumping. So a lot of show jumping and then cross country as well, but he just takes so naturally cross country that it needs less work. And I think that has a lot to do with in racing he did a lot of like long distance races. So it's like building off that long distance with jumps. So he loves it. And then the show jumping is like the really technical side. So I do a lot of like dressage with him to put the foundations there, and then the show jumping's like building off that with all the turns, with the flying changes, with the come back, go forward, and it basically just all feeds into each other. So yeah, eventing is probably his thing that he really loves.
What are the differences when you're educating a thoroughbred such as Only Tiger for these sorts of, competitions effectively?
So one of the big things I've noticed is how fit he gets and how easily it is to get him fit. I was talking to my coach about it as well, and she's had warm bloods and thoroughbreds. And one of the things that she really said is with thoroughbreds, they have such a natural fitness because that's what they're bred to do, and on the track they've got all the fitness built up from such a young age that he's just so easy to build up the fitness. So that's one of the really highs of it. And he's really naturally athletically built and like just quite a natural athletic horse. So even though you sometimes see like these big warm bloods that people are training and they have this lovely jump, they're often quite gangly and a lot less fluent, especially on the cross country, and in the show jumping they look a lot more fancy, but they often have a lot more issues gaining a rhythm and that natural athleticism. Some of the more difficult sides is that they're less flexible often, and so it takes a lot to sort of build up that flexibility, but I stretch on the ground as well before riding them, and then also on the saddle, I go back to dressage again, building up that different shape with the in the proper frame, working along the back and along the top line, and then lots and lots of bending exercises, and then the shoulders in and the leg yields, which really get that bend through the back and through the rib cage, and that's what really gives them the flexibility and the athleticism, and then they're just such good horses and they're so willing to learn. Tigsy, after everything, if he does something well, he just gets big pats, because as soon as I pat him, his ears go and I know that he responds really well to that of learning, and when I come back the next day, and if I do it again, then he usually has it really quickly, because he's like, this meant pats. So it's a really good, so easy to sort of teach.
And he came to you, unfortunately, there was a scenario where he wasn't getting enough food. He's come to you, he's looking fantastic, but it takes a bit to get the condition back on these horses, doesn't it?
Once the weight drops off, it's so hard to put it back on, and it often comes on in a weird way, they build up a tummy and then it sort of gets onto the shoulders and the bum a little bit, and it takes so long to get that top line along the top, and I still would like to build that up more, so it's just the long process. The best thing for them that I found is as much hay and roughage, especially the lucerne, because it's so high in protein. So if just as much hay as they'll eat, you keep giving it to them. And then another really helpful thing that actually my bodywork got me onto is protein and protein pack, and building them up on the protein, because lucerne's so high in protein, adding more protein to their diet, it really helps them gain muscle, and especially when they're in work, it actually makes it them build up faster, because they build up when you're working them along the back and you've got them on protein pack, it builds up the muscle along the back, which then builds up the condition.
And it's so great for Thoroughbreds to Go to be supporting yourself and Only Tiger at Equimillion. I mean, it's such a great event as far as the prize money, but it also really creates links, doesn't it, between the equestrian community and racing.
Equimillion I'm really excited for, and I'm so grateful to be able to attend, and it should be really good to see so many thoroughbreds out there and just really like doing well in their disciplines. It's I like to think of competing or competitions. This is what my coach has taught me as well, that you do all of the hard work and training at home, you go to the competition and it's all about the planning. It's the planning from start to finish. What I'm actually aiming to do is not win, it's not do really well, it's not be the best in the class, it's execute my plan. Because stuff happens and stuff happens, and if you base your this is what I want to do, I want to win, then that's not a goal you can control. So I always just aim to go and ride my plan.
Well, Leah, unfortunately, Only Tiger, you found him to be lame this morning. Tell us what you've seen when you looked at him.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a disappointing event, this one, but that's just part of it. So this morning I've just gone and looked at him, and I've been managing swelling on the knee. So I've been really militant of checking his legs and checking his knees. And I checked his knee this morning, gave him a bucket, came and walked my course, came back down and had a closer look after having, it's called an ice fibre boot on his knee. And I noticed swelling in the fetlock, and I don't know what it is obviously yet, and I've just trotted him up and he's lame. So I've had to scratch today, which is really disappointing, and it's actually even worse because he's never even pulled up with swollen legs after cross country. So he's usually pretty dead sound, so it's really disappointing, and I'll now have to start managing this one and trying to rehab him again, but part of it.
But you're handling it well. I mean, you know, as we all say, this is horses, isn't it? And this is part of it, is, you know, trying to, you know, they're like any athlete. What they're doing out there is quite an athletic endeavour.
Yeah, and the ground was definitely really hard for the cross country yesterday. So it is quite hard managing when to run them and when to not, and you can't call it. After cross country, I hosed him for over 10 minutes, hosing all his legs, then took him, iced all his legs. I've put the ice fibre boots on, iced the knee. I could do everything that you can, field all down the legs, no heat, no swelling, and then you come back this morning and it can be swollen and lame, and you're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. So was it fun? I mean, so many thoroughbreds out at an event like this. It's quite exciting.
Yeah, it was really enjoyable. I was really happy with my dressage on Saturday. I think it was one of Tuggy's best tests. He was a little bit fresh in the dressage. There was a few little, I call them Tiggy moments, but he's such a good boy and he can look so fancy. And then the show jumping, I think it was one of my best ridden rounds. And the cross country, I was just, he's just so good cross country. He just went and he went and he went, and yeah, it was really successful. And I had my mum out there jump judging, so I came around with a little It was really nice to sort of go around a friendly course and yeah, have a really nice confident round. Like, I know some people that have placed at this event and done really well, and it just makes me really happy to see that as well, because I know how hard everyone works for it, and the recognition is obviously the icing on the cake, but it's so good to see people who have really put in hard work being rewarded as well, yeah.
There are so many opportunities now for him to compete further down the line, and there's great prize money. Thoroughbred Sport Horse, Equimillion again next year. There are so many opportunities.
Yeah, it's really exciting. As they say, there's always another event. It's really disappointing, this one, and difficult to sort of, I don't want to say move past, because it's like, oh, could have, should have, would have, but everything happens for a reason, and it's just, you just get dealt the cards you get dealt that day. My sponsorship from Thoroughbreds Go has been incredible. I would not even have been able to get here without it. Everything came together, and at least I was able to get here. So I'm really grateful, and yeah, it was amazing to see so much support.